Some Maokai, maybe some Nara up there, but he really isn't the aggressive hyper carry that Minky Whale's trying to make his name for himself as.
Yeah, and Minky Whale, of course, going 9-2-5 in their last matchup against the Direwolves, really putting the team on his back and carrying through. And it's what happens. He was 7-0 at the beginning of that game when the rest of the lanes weren't going all that well. And it's what happens when a Hecarim gets that far ahead. He just puts everyone in his saddle and off he goes.
Yeah, exactly right. And he, for a huge dragon, performed very well on a horse.
He was a huge horse. The Stallion. Minky Whale, the Stallion.
No, he wants the dragon still. He doesn't
I know
want
he
the
wants
stallion.
the dragon, but he was a horse, okay? Pick me some Shyvana, Minky Whale, and I'll call you a huge dragon once again, I promise. But Jack Attack, they haven't banned away the Maokai. They could pick that one up, but what sort of stands out to you as far as the open champions? Because Nautilus is going to be locked in, but that means Carbon can hop straight on the Gragas.
Yeah, Gragas is available. Alistair's available.
Hecarim's available.
Yeah. That's available. Other sub we should mention, of course, is Mattress down in the bottom lane. Strawbella still not in the starting lineup, so Mattress stepping in pretty admirably last time around, was able to pick up a win with the team, I believe, was on Nautilus, was like 0-1.
0-1 and 15.
Yeah, that was the number I was looking for. Very high.
Yes, that's a 15 KDA, ladies and gentlemen. Those playing at home, pretty good. But in fact, speaking of KDAs, across the other side of the rift, Minky Whale's sitting on overall a 12 KDA.
Yeah.
Just a flat 12. And that's not even the highest on the team. Carbon is on 13. So Legacy have had a decent run this time around, and it is going to be the cow actually picked up by Minky Whale as well. So, I mean, he's going well there in the top lane, but he's going to be picking the support, and they're going to leave a Hecarim open, and we'll see whether Absolute decide to take that, because I haven't necessarily seen Jack Attack play it, but I could imagine he could.
Yeah, Jack Attack's just really solid up in the top lane.
Yeah.
I would assume he could also take it up there, play it relatively well. We see that in the jungle, they are looking at a Sejuani. That's a little bit dangerous because if you do get invaded early by a Gragas, Gragas should straight up win that trade. And they are hovering. Wow, that is a blast from the past.
Yeah, this is the Jack Attack Rumble, of course. There's been a lot of Rumble players here in Oceania, but I like to think that Jack Attack is one of the originals.
Yeah, he certainly is. Coming through when he used to play on Exile 5 was a very good Rumble player.
I remember a certain Spooks and Swiffer on that team.
Yeah, he was really good up in the top lane there, and he was able to pull out some very big wins in Rumble. We're seeing a resurgence of Rumble come back into the competitive scene, and we'll be able to do okay against the Hecarim. Does go fairly well in the head-to-head.
Yeah, especially early on as well, where Hecarim generally struggles just a little bit. But Legacy making their final decisions and thinking about it for quite some time. And what do you think works with this team comp? Do they want to go for mass displacement? Do they want to go for a pick-style comp? Of course, Alistair does allow you to do that. Lots of tower dive potential.
Yeah, they've just got a very beefy all-around comp right now. They could take anything, maybe something, if they want to go the two very aggressive carries. That was not what I was going to say. I was going to say you could go something like a Hecarim, but instead they go with mid and AD carry right now.
Yeah.
With Azir and Ezreal.
Azir locked in completely blind here as well. They do note the fact that Cassiopeia has been banned away. Midbeast, of course, playing quite a plethora of champions there in the mid lane. A lot of sort of different things. The Jace comes to mind when you think of Midbeast. Of course, Syndra there as well. But he is going to lock in the Ahri this time around. No stranger to the Assassin play. And Kulo, he's going to take the Lucian there. So a lot of mid-game strength plus Sejuani here for the Absolute lineup.
Yeah, but they've got a fairly good wombo combo. In the end, if you get a lot of lockdown on top of that Rumble ultimate, means that picking people off for mid-B is going to be a little bit easier, and they add a fairly good split pusher in Ahri. She can get things done in the mid-game if she gets ahead and really go try and assassinate people 1v1, and Kulo's going to be able to teamfight relatively well. So I think that they've got a good call, lockdown CC, and some AoE that can come through there.
Yeah, well, pretty balanced lineup here for Absolute. Legacy now looking for a top laner as Minky Whale considering what he wants to go to next. Could be a Gnar, could be also a Maokai there in the top lane, but it is going to be a Diana. So more of a standard pick there for the top lane.
Yeah, so potentially as a Diana top. We don't know that yet. You could
Azir
be
top.
Azir.
Yeah, Gragas top.
Gragas top.
Haven't seen that for
Diana.
a while. Yeah, Jungle
No,
Diana.
it will be a top Diana, and that's a very strange pick coming through from Minky Whale. Of course, against double AP, Diana's always done well as a legitimate split push threat. Wow. Builds really well into Abyssal Scepter, and they're against 4 AP threats there on the team. It's only going to be really Kulo that he has to worry about, who will kill him as soon as he looks at him. So Minky Whale on a legit assassin against a reasonably squishy lineup coming through here from Absolute.
Yeah, now that that shield, of course, a lot more reliable to stack up, you can be a little bit more beefy in the middle of a team fight, and we'll see whether he changes up his build for that, whether it is going to be just the standard Abyssal into the Zhonya's Hourglass. I just like seeing different stuff.
There's a really cool build that you can do at the moment. It makes you run extremely quickly. So if you go something like an Abyssal Scepter, you grab a Luden's Echo in there, you go a Lich Bane, and all of a sudden with Boots 2, you have plus...
What about Boots 3?
No.
Oh, come on.
You have to destroy it every time.
It's not destroying it. It's beautiful.
For reference, we talk about this build a lot because that is my jungle Evelyn build right now.
Yes.
And Max every time references Boots of Swiftness in there.
Well, Swifties just go so well with extra move. It's multiplicative scaling.
It is.
Spawn.
That is the right term and multiplicatively as well.
Yeah, I know. I actually managed to nail it. So thank you very much for that. Made me look like an idiot, but I still managed to get my point across. Everybody wins. But ladies and gentlemen, get over to Twitter. Use that hashtag ABSWin or the hashtag LGCWin and let us know who you think is going to take this game. Absolute looked great in their game against Sudden Fear the last time round, but Legacy have looked super dominant on the Rift. One of the only teams that is undefeated thus far, of course, 2-0, but early days, and of course there can be upsets very early on, so we'll see whether Absolute are going to be able to turn this one around or whether Legacy is going to meet the Chiefs in the top of the table.
And this is a really important game for Legacy because once again they've thrown Minky away on a legitimate threat up there in the top lane, and he got no respect in the pick ban phase. So if they're going to continue to last pick for Minky Whale, turn him into the legitimate threat, add him to the Tallywhacker Choo-Choo's conversation, all of a sudden, they're a really hard team to deal with because Carbon, one of the members we were criticizing a lot, has begun to step up again.
Oh, yeah.
He's really starting to take it to teams. He's playing the good tanky junglers extremely well. And if they can get Minky Whale rolling time and time again, he's a player that historically has been very good at certain parts of League of Legends. His Aurelia was extremely good.
I'm remembering his Jax. His Jax was so frightening.
His Jax was good. His Shyvana turned out to be reasonably good as well. So historically, when Minky Whale rolls, it's good things for the Legacy lineup.
Yeah, well, Minky Whale, we'll see whether he can get back to that point. But looking down the rest of the lineup, Claire moving in here for Legacy. We'll see whether he's going to be able to make things happen there in the mid lane. But Azir doesn't stand out to me as a Claire-type champion.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. We said that he's like kind of more of the assassin player.
Yeah, I think Fizz when I think about Claire.
Fizz, I think Zed coming to mind, very good Zed player. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a different champion, but everyone kind of plays Azir at the moment. It's a standard mid lane mage. If you want to be able to take it into competitive, if you want to be a competitive mid laner, you have to be able to play Cassiopeia or Azir right now. So I'm assuming he can play it relatively well. Although Claire's someone that did fall out of the pro scene, so I haven't been following his match history like I do a couple of other mid laners.
Yeah, well, I certainly haven't really seen him around as well, but he did continue to play, of course, seen him in the Spectate a few times, had a look at some of his games, but look, wasn't expecting him to come back so quickly, of course, did leave the immunity lineup because he felt like, you know, getting other things done, but now back, now subbing for Legacy, and we'll see whether he's still at the top of his game, because he didn't leave because he wasn't performing.
Claire's
he
a
was
really good
still
mid laner,
doing
by the way.
fantastic things. Yeah,
I think Claire is like still in the upper peak of Oceanic mid laners, and that's pretty good because mid lane is an area that we have some pretty deep talent in Oceania. So I think that Claire still is up there with the best mid laners in the region, and you know, coming into a Legacy lineup, as we said, he's kind of interchangeable with Choo-Choo's. Choo-Choo's is a very similar player in a lot of ways as what Claire brings, so we'll have to see how it works out. If we take another look across Absolute's lineup, I just want to highlight the Nautilus Sejuani Rumble combo one more time. They all peak around level 6. This is going to be a lineup that wants to fight around dragons. Ezreal is going to be sitting on a tier most likely because that is the build that we kind of see out of Ezreal right now. So especially if he goes new blue Ezreal, which will hit if he does do it. But that team fight is really scary at level 6 mark. So if they're able to get any semblance of a lane swap, keep the game relatively equal for the first couple of levels, Absolute has a chance to be able to team fight extremely well when they hit their ultimates.
Yeah, and this is off the back of Kulo as well, who had his previous performance on Lucian, 11-0-6 against Sudden Fear, really smashing that one out. And, of course, does have that Lucian one more time. He's going to be very comfortable in that lane. We'll see how they can stand up against a very sort of comfortable Flying Dew and, of course, Tallywhacker there in the bottom lane. Flying Dew has been always known to be a very aggressive player, was sort of known for hitting thresh hooks that shouldn't have hit. So now with a dredge line at his disposal, still able to do that.
Yeah, and Dew coming in here against Matra, so that's a...
Yeah, blast from the past.
Talk about old school matchups coming through in there, but we'll have to see exactly how it works out. Tallywhacker, he's had his ups and downs as AD carries, but coming through on Ezreal, a different pickup here.
Yeah, very different. Of course, sort of known for playing Corki there in the bottom lane, but we are into the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, or onto the Rift, depending on what something N-word you want to use. Absolute versus Legacy for our final game of the night. Absolute are going to be on the blue side, and no invades going to be coming down this time, as we are going to have some mid lane meetings, as Beast actually going very aggressive onto Tallywacker. Yeah, auto attack's actually going to be in favor of the Ezreal this time around, mid-base. You need to be careful.
Not to mention the fact he's got a spammable Q at level 1, so probably lucky to escape there. As just a fan out coming through here, and I'm surprised they're not lane swapping on Minky Whale, because Diana is someone that jungles really quickly early levels, but should struggle in a lane swap.
Yeah, he's able to get a ward down there so that they can at least have some early vision of anyone trying to take down that Gromp. Carbon and Minky Whale, though, going to walk over a ward back towards their red side jungle. Kulo waiting on the bottom side, so no lane swap to be coming through for Absolute.
Yeah, and it looks like Greg is going to start on the bottom side of the map. Minky will be able to take a camp, by the way. Diana takes a camp extremely easily level 1. So
yeah, Pale Cascade.
Passive stacks up so well.
And will he be taking the W first spawn? I mean, we've spoken about Diana's in the past. In the mid lane, you say if you take the Q first, you're a bit silly.
You lose lane. It's not you're silly. It's just that you really struggle to win lane when you do it.
Okay. So is that the same for the top lane?
Yeah, it certainly is, because he's going to be taking a lot of harass. And the thing about Diana, she needs to hit level 2. So you use the pretty much W to push out the lane along with your passive, and you get level 2 really quickly in there. And it looks like he's going to start up a jungle camp, which I hope means he started W coming in.
Yeah, well, he probably have to if you are taking some jungle. He has managed to
W.
Yeah, he did. Minky Whale, he knows what's going on. There's the shield.
Means he doesn't have to burn a potion. It's just really smart play coming through there. He's going to be able to go back and get full consumables.
Well, Rumble has made it to the top lane. We'll see whether he does teleport to the tower for that extra cooldown reduction on the teleport, as Tallywacker and Flying Dew actually made it to this lane a little bit quicker. Kuloa Mattress taking down the Krugs, but getting towards that level a little bit faster, as Minky Whale is going to head here towards the top side of the map. Jack Attack not quite level 2 yet. Minky Whale not able to quite get that first farm, but is able to get the other.
But Jack will be able to push him in early. The thing is Rumble deals really well with melee top laners. He's always been able to just shove them in, as mid-base has to back away from some farm there. Is starting to lose out on a couple of trades. And as you can see, Jack Attack going to be able to repetitively shove this lane, and he will build an early advantage over Minky. Minky, that's actually a really good freeze to keep the wave up there, but it's not going to change the fact that that Flame Spitter, especially as it gets to level 3 and he puts a couple of points in it, is going to do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, Carbon now finishing off his red buff. He's towards the top side, but now at half health. Just going to take himself a Scuttle Crab, as you generally like to as a jungler at about this stage, and is going to be able to clear that one out. Mid-beast taking some auto attacks here from Claire.
Some work in the mid lane.
And does have that cleanse as well, so not afraid of a charm if it is going to come down. Going to be fantastic against Malik as well if he's going to come through for one of those ganks.
Overextending, there is a ward, will be spotted out. Depends whether they can get in range of it.
Yeah, Minky Whale trying to get in there, but Jack Attack just going to use a Scrap Shield for some extra speed if he needs to. He's going to be more than fine. Minky Whale, though, still with a lead in the top side of the map, as Flying Dew actually headbutting Kulo far longer than I was expecting him to, as Tallywacker takes half of his health. Titan's Wrath from Match is going to keep him safe. Nice piercing light, as Kulo really putting the pressure down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is a problem with Ezreal. He just doesn't really stand up early game as Carbon returns. Jack Attack going to see him again.
Yep, the ward just about to time out. Carbon actually sees that die as well, assuming he was actually looking where he was going.
But it actually looks like the lane is finally reversing back, so we'll be pushing in Jack Attack's favor. He can back away, won't lose any creeps, and Carbon's kind of missed his window right now.
Yeah, not quite able to get too much done, as the Raptor camp is going to be his next port of call. He's going to be able to lock that down. Mid-based still struggling in this lane, and he opted for this matchup. It's not quite working in the early stages. Does this turn around for an Ahri, though?
Ahri's just got a lot of inherent sustain in her kit, so she doesn't really outright lose many lanes right now. A lot of people play her as a very safe blind pick even, just because with the speed up, with the fact that you have sustain in your kit and a 3-dash ultimate, it's really hard to keep you down at any part of the game. So we should be completely fine to just farm out, but the problem with Ahri is you pick her to be an assassin, to get aggressive in the early game, and that just doesn't look like it's going to be coming through.
No. Doesn't look like an opportunity here, as Malik level 4, so not able to do too much on this Sejuani, but is clawing his way around Claire. Arctic Assault's going to be available. Claire moves back very intelligently, as mid-base was obviously moving forward to try and land that charm. Carbon back in the top lane, though, possibly for this counter gank that could be coming down. Malik looking for something. Scuba Gragas.
This is a really dangerous 2v2 to elect into as Absolute.
Yeah, Jack Attack does get caught by that Q as well. Pale Cascade is going to give the shielders. There's the Moonfall. Malik is going to have to flash, possibly Arctic Assault as well. Is going to. Minkyuel almost level 6, but not quite able to Lunar Rush the gap as Jack Attack. Nice pressure there with the Flame Spitter, level 5, so able to get 3 points into it, doing some work.
Yeah, so as we said, Jack Attack quite fine to just stay with the even matchup and go 1v1. Doesn't really have to commit to the ganks at all. And in the end, Malik has to burn a lot on the opposite side of that. Carbon's starting to camp this lane out, and it's because he wants to get Minky Whale to level 6, which he's now at, where Minky should have a lot of kill potential, pressure in the lane. He's actually gone in.
Yeah, he went in on Jack Attack, but he is going to be fine. Carbon, of course, back here as well, as the Lunar Rush is being looked for. Oh, Minky Whale. Yeah, that Crescent Slash, difficult one to land.
So one thing I will say right now is that Minky Whale is, Carbon's wasting a little bit of time. At this point, he's fallen behind a couple of camps. Sejuani actually farming a little bit better, 5 CS up, and that's not a huge amount, but right now is when Carbon's stronger. Sejuani's going to turn into this team-fighting powerhouse, is going to scale ridiculously well into the late game, and honestly has an easier to execute ult. Not better, it's just much more reliable. You kind of fling it at a person, as long as you hit anyone, you kind of win with it. It kind of has no downsides unless you really whiff it. And on the other side, Gragas' ultimate is a much more fickle beast. You can pop people away from your team. It can be flashed out of really easily. So Carbon needed to make the early game work for him, and it looks like it has gone a little bit in favor of Absolute.
Yeah, this time around, it is going to be Claire returning to lane. Almost has that Morellonomicon completed. Beast looks to be going towards either an early Abyssal Scepter after the Fiendish Codex, or more likely that Athene's Unholy Grail, just to make sure that he can withstand sort of the double AP that he's going to be potentially ganking his lane from either the top and mid or the jungle and mid. There's Midbeast and Mattress now waiting for something, of course. Midbeast at level 6, the Charm, quite devastating, but unable to find a Scuba Man heading towards the river, and just get some vision down, does Carbon. A little bit late to the party. Yeah,
and Kulo hasn't really been disadvantaged right now because it's a tier Ezreal. Very low kill pressure in that bottom lane coming out for Tallywacker. So not really much threat of being soloed. They're able to send Nautilus on these expeditions into other parts of the map to see if he can get anything with his CC.
Yeah, and Jack Attack just continuing to farm out this lane. Is behind by about 3 CS.
For the Abyssal Scepter route as well against double AP. Triple AP as well with the Gragas. That's a really smart pickup from Jack Attack. Realistically, he's going to be in there brawling for the entirety of the game. He's going to have people diving in on him. So he's just mirroring the build out of Minky Whale. And in fact, we'll have a lot more cost-efficient build coming through with the double pen items afterwards.
Not to mention the fact that that Abyssal Scepter always going to be effective against Minky Whale as well, because he's melee range. Of course, Carbon at the same time, he's going to be doing a lot of magic damage, also melee range, so always going to be under the influence of that item. It's an intelligent choice, like you said.
Yeah, I really like the pickup coming through here, and we've complimented Jack Attack all for the start of this season because he really is one of the smarter players in the Oceanic regions. There's a reason that he always hovers around the top tier. Team fights incredibly well, does his job extremely well, and is really just a rock for his team, and has been farming reasonably well in the top lane against the Diana.
Yeah, and actually
who had a hell of a lot of pressure up there from the jungler.
Yeah. So only 10 CS behind when Carbon was there on 4 separate occasions, something like that. Sounds like I'm getting it wrong because that's way too many times, but I believe it was something like that, as now there is going to be vision down here. Midbeast is at his turret, so going to be safe, able to farm out that wave quite nicely. And just to reference Jack Attack as well, his last performance on Maokai was a 4-1-17. Just completely ridiculous stuff, as that tank play on that champion very, very strong. And now on what we know is a comfort pick here, despite the fact that we haven't necessarily seen him on it too much just recently. We'll see whether he can get things done towards the later stages of the game, as Kulo is going to use the culling just to try and clear out the minion wave, but Flying Dew actually intelligently going to tank that one up, just to make sure that not too many of those minions are going to die too quickly. The back not going to be as easy for Kulo. Yeah, and you know, you look at this composition and they both scale reasonably well. Both have kind of a control-y mage with the Rumble versus the Azir coming in. Azir's going to scale better than Rumble into the late game, but they both have assassin-esque players, with Minky Whale taking the Diana versus the Ahri, both going to be able to really make the AD carries games hell. So this is a reasonably even matchup as it goes later and later, as Carbon trying to avoid Malik. Yeah, might be able to find a smite here as well as the barrel. Oh, is it going to steal it? Yes. So unfortunately, Malik decides to auto-attack it and put it in range of the barrel.
I think it was already in range.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he maxes it.
Ah, okay. Well, I thought it was a little bit unfortunate. Thought that the auto attack put it right over the edge. Add a bit of drama, Spawn, you know? But in the end, Claire just going to clear out this mid lane. Just some more farming to be going on. Not too much action early on. Of course, no kills just yet in the gold. Very even. Dredgeline, Mattress trying to get some work done. He heard me.
Yeah, but this is what they need to do. They need to force on the Ezreal now because Ezreal's sitting on a tier, not really the most, I guess, lane-efficient item to come through there. No combat stat, just the mana. As Malik now with level 6 in the top lane, but Minky sniffs it out.
Oh, Midbase going for the 1v1 here. The teleport, though, from Minky Whale. Midbase might need to run away. Doesn't have the Spirit Rush anymore, but does have the Flash. Does land the Charm as well onto Claire as he's able to get out of there. Minky Whale finds Mattress. Moonfall back as Dredgeline after the Flash. Flying Dew, though. There's the Headbutt Pulverize. True Shot Barrage. Might net himself at least an assist, and it does. And that is 4 members having a part of that kill. Really nicely done, but Mattress trying to help his team, unable to make anything happen.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay out of 2 members there. Malik didn't head down the river straight away, instead chose to stick around and push top lane. And in the end, no teleport follow coming through from Jack Attack. You think in the 2v2, there was some low members. That might have been able to be turned around, but in the end, they stick top. They might be able to trade the turret here, which is a gold objective. A little bit more important than the Dragon at this stage of the game, but they do lose out on the first kill.
I actually personally like that decision, though, with the fact that Absolute have this mid-game comp that probably wants to get stronger in items a little bit faster than Legacy do, making the decision to pick up the gold rather than sort of the extended opportunity in the Dragon.
Yeah, so surface level, it doesn't look that bad, but then you also think that they have a level 6 composition that, as we said, will fall off because the Azir may be a little bit stronger than the Rumble, and they made the conscious decision that before 20-minute marks, the only thing you can fight over is Dragon, and they're not going to have 2 chances to do that now. They're only going to have the 1 when it's up at about the 18-minute mark.
Well, we'll see whether they can manage to actually do anything then, as Minky Whale just going to queue this wave, move out of the way, but notices that there's no one coming, so he can actually freely try and push this one back. Just going to let that minion wave die, but Jack Attack does make it there in time. Kulo and Mattress now hanging around, but True Shot Barrage going to mean that Tallywacker can easily pick up all of this CS. Of course, Tallywacker been playing a lot of Tristana very recently as Claire. There's actually the ultimate used. Nice use of that Orb of Deception, but forcing the Flash. Midbase, I think he had the ultimate available, but I think that wall might have been a little bit too fat.
Yeah, just didn't want to risk going through it as Minky actually zoning Midbeast away from the blue buff. Carbon and Dew also near the turret. They want to go for this one, and he's been caught.
Yeah, the charm actually landing on a Minky Whale, but there's the explosive cast. Midbase can't get over the wall. The Moonfall's there. Claire picks up the kill with a Q. Carbon using the last of his mana. Actually, Claire burning down with this equalizer. Jack Attack zoning Carbon away. The Flame Splitter doing work as Jack Attack gets over the wall. Carbon, nice use of the W there, but isn't able to survive. But Legacy, they're cleaning up. Midbeast and Malik both dead as Jack Attack on the run now. Lunar Rush, is it going to be available in time as the Harpoon slows Minky Whale down and Jack Attack just burns the brush?
Yeah, and Nautilus is coming up as well, so Jack Attack might be able to keep them interested enough. Very tanky coming through with that Abyssal Scepter already finished up. They're able to grab a kill as well. And that actually wasn't he was able to get through the wall there mid-piece. He was just ripped back by a really well-timed Moonfall coming through from Minky Whale. So spot on Diana mechanics from the top laner of Legacy.
Yeah, he wasn't necessarily looking like he had it all down, missing a couple of those Qs, but that is even more difficult to land. So huge props to Minky. Knows exactly what he's doing, like you said.
I thought you were going to say that was more difficult to miss. I thought you got full out on it.
No. I liked it. Liked it a lot. Redeeming himself. Carbon going to be able to take down his Raptors. Just farming this one out is the Gragas. Still behind on farm, though, as Malik level 9 at this stage. Cinderhulk and the Sightstone completed as Midbeast Cheeky Q picks that one up for himself. But Claire's the one I want to talk about because he's got a needlessly large rod as well as the Morellonomicon. The damage coming through from this Azir is huge at 15 minutes.
Yeah, it certainly is, but there is a threat because there is a lot of magic damage coming through. He's gone for a Morello, which I straight up disagree with because he's against a lot of AP, so you need to at least get the Athene's Unholy Grail if you're not going anything else. And he's also gone for a needlessly large rod. So the thing about, we talk about Merc treads, and they're in a very strange place because right now, if you go things like Gragas, Rek'Sai, they don't do very much because of the knockups, the displacement's not really affected. But he's against a Sejuani. And right now, he's a lot of the consistent damage that's going to come through. So if he had have gone something like an Abyssal and Athene's Unholy Grail and some Merc Treads, he would be really tanky against magic damage, which is a lot of it. He would have the ability to get out of CC and would have a lot of different things in his kit. Right now, he's going for the pure damage, which if he positions well, will be really good. But it just adds an element to risk to the game of being caught out by Malik.
Well, we'll see whether Malik now with some new responsibility.
But he does a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, he does. That was what I was referring to, was the fact that those Sand Soldiers are going to be cutting you in half. And, of course, minion waves are going to be no problem at all, as Malik is down here towards the bottom side, locking down this Ezreal and, of course, the Alistair. Going to be difficult. Unbreakable Will getting you out of any CC, and Tallywacker being able to Arcane Shift away.
And they're still top lane as well. Carbon really focusing Minky Whale's lane.
Yeah, Jack Attack able to burn through the shield.
Claire's up there as well.
Yep.
They have to know that something's up.
Well, he does walk through a pink ward as Jack Attack tries to get out of the way. There's the explosive cask into the wall as Jack Attack's completely zoned. Claire able to cut him down, and a bit of an easy kill, but Jack Attack feeling the camp.
Yeah, and the force coming through in the bottom lane. Mid-B's probably not going to be able to get that. Actually, he will. No one's rotating through, so they might trade 2 turrets for 1 here as Ju tries to go aggressive.
Yeah, it does land a nice 3-man pulverize there, getting Absolute at least away from the turret, but 3 against 2. When this next minion wave hits, it might be a problem, but Mid-Beast does get denied the turret. Takes a lot of damage, so it's only going to be a little bit of a whisper, and that one's going to be down.
But they're still pushing top lane. Claire going to be able to get some work through here. Actually doesn't choose to stick around, so he'll get a shot back. In the end, just a turret for a lot of damage on a turret as well as a kill. So Legacy extend their gold lead. And the early game really has been pretty good out of Legacy, but we'll see a lot more around this next Dragon fight. You would figure 25 seconds. The Boots 2 are now finished off on Rumble. He's in a very good position to be able to fight this and see whether they can get that team fight with all their ultimates up that they've been looking for.
Yeah, 10 seconds, of course. Jack Attack probably not going to be able to get to the Haunting Guys, which it looks like he's looking for next, but will be able to have a lot of damage in the next one if he manages to land the Equalizer.
Needs a level 11 more than he needs the Haunting Guys. Just Minky's already level 12 because of all the focus that's gone up there. And Jack Attack, unfortunately, not only is he 40 CS behind now, but hasn't yet got the level 11, which is the all-important level 2 ultimate.
Yeah, Minky Whale now rotating towards the mid lane. Legacy wanting to pick up that dragon if they can. This mid lane turret.
They're going to start it up pretty quickly as well. Malik's caught.
Yeah, he's going to Arctic Assault his way out of there as Carbon actually taking a fair bit of damage from the Permafrost.
So Jack Attack just dinged into level 11, and there is a ward in the back of the Dragon Fit, so you have to think that right now they will fight.
Yeah, they're looking for the Glacial Prison. Oh, Mattress wanting to get in there. Might have been a little bit too soon as the teleport has come through from Jack Attack. Wants the flank as Malik gets the ultimate there as well. Depth charge down on the Flying Jew. There's the Equalizer in a fantastic position. Tallywacker can't do anything, but Minky Whale is wreaking havoc in this team fight. Mattress, he's going to fall down as well as Minky Whale might burn to death, but the Pale Cascade actually went off as Flying Jew headbutts Kulo away. Actually flashes himself to safety, but Kulo nets himself a kill. Claire locks down mid-beast. Kulo, the last man standing, but everyone on Legacy incredibly low.
Yeah, that was such a close team fight coming through as now.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah, Kulo's definitely going to back at this point.
Tallywacker forces him else. They'll get another objective off it as well, the mid-turret. So a very close team fight means they grab the mid-turret. They grab now nearly a 4,000 gold lead. It is a 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah.
And everything going right for them. Let's take a look at the replay. So a really good ultimate. They weren't able to lay the CC perfectly, although the Equalizer was really good coming out. The problem was on the back line, Minky Whale was just destroying people, honestly. He took out the first 3 people before there was any real response. Kulo tried to make it work, and you see how low the health bars were, but Ju with some great positioning, and Claire and Minky splitting to make sure that there was neither of them could really come under siege meant the Legacy won the team fight.
Yeah, it was well done. Now with the ultimates on cooldown, Legacy's mostly back up.
Malik's.
Yeah,
might try and fight again.
Yeah, most importantly, the Emperor's Divide and, of course, Minky Whale's ult. Oh, the steal from Malik flashes out as well. Smooth moves by the absolute jungler, and it's good news here. I mean, it does stop a potential 5th dragon there at about 36 minutes.
Yeah, stops a little bit of the snowball. Is now Tallywacker.
You might be in trouble. Culling not quite able to be landed there, but Tallywacker not entering this lane anymore as Kulo is asserting his dominance.
Yeah, and he actually goes for the Trinity Force build on the Ezreal. I thought we might see our first glimpse of the new blue Ezreal because just so easy to get cooldown reduction.
Does Black Cleaver... Oh, actually, Matra's going to get caught around the red buff, though. Claire gets exhausted, but there are 3 members of Legacy, and Flying Dew actually bypassing a potential assist. Yeah, Minkuel wanders down as well.
Wants to get out of that bottom side of the jungle.
Yes. Instead, going to take down the Krugs. It's ballsy. He is going to net himself at least the big one. Is Jack Attack going to continue farming in the top lane? They did take down that turret, so he's got a long lane here. As Tallywacker just going to True Shot Barrage this wave. And the Lunar Rush and everything else from Minkuel going to help out with that one as well. He's just going to back off. 3-0-4 though for Minky. Very, very nice score. But I want to talk about Claire. 5-0-4. 100% kill participation on this Azir in his first game. He's really looking like him and the Legacy lineup working well together. And you don't necessarily expect that level of teamwork and ability to move around the map with a sub that quickly. But Claire's making it happen.
Yeah, and I honestly think that something reminds me for some reason that they were actually subbing Claire in before the season started in a lot of their scrims because Choo Choo's, I want to say, was focusing on study, and Jack Attack's caught.
Yeah, he is caught, but that's a really nice equalizer. 3-man ultimate on top of it as well. The shutdown comes through. That was, if that was a bait, that was absolutely stunning as Minkuel trying to get the Moonfalls happening, but gets charmed up. He's going to die as well. Kulo continues to go aggressive. That is a 4-for-1, and Jack Attack, that was the most... Ooh. Whoa, okay. Mattress, be careful. Be careful. Complimenting your team here, man. Just calm down. But, man, Jack Attack's equalizer, that was
that was a really nice fight coming through there. And he was in range for all of the Magic Resist Shred to come through from the Abyssal Scepter as well. It was chains perfectly with the Sejuani and Nautilus Ultimate. So that press R all of a sudden net them a 1-team fight. 4-for-1, as you mentioned. They got the mid turret as well. And they go back within touching distance. Let's take another look. Gets caught, but lands a really nice equalizer. Everyone caught up on it. Ahri flies through, and that orb does a lot of Ahri's damage early game, so you have to watch it when it goes through multiple members. Minky dives in, tries to rescue the situation, gives away another shutdown, and Tallywacker, the only team member that lived.
Yeah, and had to run for the hills as well. 0-0-4 on this Ezreal. Decided to go for the Trinity Force. I would have liked to see Black Cleaver as well as the Iceborne Gauntlet, but unfortunately wasn't to be.
So the thing about that is, and I actually think it gives them a lot more control around these team fights. Add some CC because Minky realistically isn't bringing that much apart from his Moonfall.
Yeah.
And it gives some really good persistent damage. Instead, he goes for the high burst threat. And right now, they've kind of got Claire with a lot of burst damage that will come through from the Q Emperor's Divide if he's able to get it in there. Minky is all about burst right now. He's a Diana. And then you kind of got to burst Ezreal as well. Might be overkill on one champion, but they're pretty much making it work so far, so we'll have to see how it works out. As now Jack Attack might be flanked yet again. A lot of pressure on that top side of the map for Absolute. They need to really sweep out some wards because their vision control not great right now. Yeah,
that is the ultimate down from mid-beast though. In fact, Claire taking a lot of damage but avoids the charm, and that is the most important part. Sand Soldier's going to clear out these minion waves as Minkuel looks for the Q but doesn't find it. Now, Diana's Q, Crescent Slash, Crescent Strike, or Crescent Sweep? I know it's not Crescent Sweep because that's Xin Zhao. Strike or Slash? Pretty sure it's Slash. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. Legacy, they'll continue to clear out the mid lane.
All I know is that Sejuani's pig is called Bristle.
Yep, okay. She's also got an Arctic Assault, which is fun. Well, Legacy now just going to parade around the jungle, clearing out some vision. Not necessarily looking like they know exactly what to do next, but putting pressure towards the top side. Still vision available for Absolute, but is the Baron going to be something to look at in the coming future? We'll see whether Legacy do think that they're far enough ahead for that one. Of course, only 2,000 gold. Absolute with that last team fight, really putting themselves back into position of power in this game. Malik, though, he's going for the Righteous Glory as his second item.
I actually really like it, because they need to start team fights around the Sejuani, and you know that is the engagement right there. Sejuani needs to catch people out of position, and they need to be able to go at the drop of a dime. Right now, Legacy trying to rotate towards the Dragon. That's up in 40 seconds, and they had the last one stolen away from them after a nice team fight. Big minion wave down the bottom will mean that They might be able to catch someone here. Malik is the target that they're going for.
Oh, Mattress. Is he going to look for the ward? Malik's going to face check it. 4 members in. Able to Arctic Assault out of the way as Carbon wasn't able to get over the top. And Midbeast going to take a Q that wasn't tanked by anyone. Does a lot of damage. But Legacy don't get a pick. They'll still try and siege the turret, though. Yeah,
so they're looking to siege this turret, but you'd think that maybe even the culling or just a nice Q will come through as that static shiv's already been picked up. So Kulo able to clear that one out. And Tallywhacker's ultimate is actually a really good team fighting tool right now. Not for the reason you will think, but because of the 5 stacks that it gives him straight away as the team fight starts. A lot of attack speed, but they start up the dragon anyway. Looks like it's going to go down before any response comes through. Yeah, absolutely. Looking to try and get in there, but of course, no wards over the top, and Tower Destruction now available for the Legacy lineup as they pick up their second. Zonya's Hourglass picked up from Minky. Wow, that's a pretty important purchase. Means that he can dive in, do a lot of his damage. Zonya's up and maybe get a second rotation out as well. And also, I just love the Zonyas on Minky Well. Sorry to interrupt, but Claire will be able to get a lot of consistent damage down while Minky Well is being disruptive, and now Minky Well going to be able to get 2 rounds of spells off. Yeah, so he'll be able to dive in there, and as long as he balances his shield well, realistically, it's going to be a heck of a lot more because with the dual resistances, the effective health pool really high on Diana right now, so he's deceptively tanky up there in the top lane. And evenly tanky as well. I like the Zonyas and Abyssal. You feel like you've covered both of your bases, you know? Although on the Legacy lineup, they don't necessarily have all that much physical damage. It's just Ezreal, and an Ezreal does a lot of magic damage himself. Yeah, but Minky's playing on Legacy's lineup. So That's not true. Really worry about the friendly fire coming through. They're probably more concerned with Kulo. Yep. That's a very good point. Carbon actually takes a lot of burst damage there. The Harpoon's actually doing some work. Does use these. Oh, the 3, man. There's the equalizer, but not really getting anyone as Minky Well trying to look for his entrance over the wall. Moonfall not going to find anyone. It's Jack Attack. He gets caught out, smacked back into his team as Minky Well Zonyas is himself. And a little bit of an equalizer failure there, an absolute force to get out of there. And is this going to mean a Baron for Legacy? Yeah, that was a really nice equalizer, as well as a Sejuani ult, but then you realize that Claire has Cleanse and Flying Dew has his ultimate, so realistically it caught no one out of position and they're able to turn around and immediately kill Jack Attack. That means they'll start up the Baron. Still a risky call because it is only 27 minutes in, but they do have a lot of Baron damage. Yeah, Carbon going down extraordinarily low. Still now on 2,000 health. Depth, Dredge Line coming through, but Kulo, he's got a lot of damage. Flying Drew going to be the first one to die now as Malik. He's going to flash forward. Claire, he gets taken down, trying to get some work done, but Carbon, he's waiting for the body slam, but gets charmed. He gets over the wall, but there's the Dredge Line, and Mattress with the last of his mana locks down the kill. So 3 people fall, but they keep Baron on 2 individuals. So overall, probably a net gain for Legacy, because they don't lose any major objectives off it, but that was very close, and that's what happens when you go for risky Baron calls. Unfortunately, Claire, he tried to make the play and shove everyone out of the Baron pit to ensure that the rest of his team was safe, but 3 members still went down. Yeah, and Kulo, once again, actually having a great performance. We haven't spoken about him because there's honestly been just other things going on the Rift, but Kulo 3-0 and 5. He hasn't been the one touched in these fights, but it has been the fact that his front line's fallen down. We'll have a look at it again, but he gets so much consistent damage down in these fights. Yeah, well, he gets a huge static shift proc there at the start. And as you see, Claire, he goes super aggressive to try and keep the rest of his members safe over the backside of the wall. But unfortunately, if that had have worked and Carbon had have lived here instead of going down, that would have been a really nice play coming out of Claire. Instead, they can't keep all of the Baron buffs alive, and a little bit for naught, but you could see the idea. I think it was very strong coming through, and he's so high damage right now. He's gone Avoid stuff. Yeah. Okay, so Claire is going to be doing some work. One-shot Kulo if he gets his Emperor's Divide in there. Well, we were talking about him as being an assassin player, and now he's just playing Azir, but he's an assassin. Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much, Claire. You've upheld what we thought you were going to be doing this game. Legacy now, not with the vision control, absolute, with so many wards on this map. Know what Legacy are up to. This Baron buff now on Minky Well and Tallywhacker trying to be dealt with by the absolute lineup. Base not broken just yet, and the inner turret in the bottom lane might be where Legacy decide to start their push. And Kulo needs to be careful. He is a legitimate dive threat. He's actually brought Nautilus down there to try and deal with this bottom wave. They're trying to entice Minky into the dive, you feel, but in the meanwhile, mid lane turret goes down. Yeah, inner turret is going to fall, of course. Baron minion's pretty difficult to deal with, so you expect something like that to happen, but oh, look at cheeky Minky Well just
holding on to his siege minion, who's trying to take down that turret. The rest of Legacy now rotating down. And with the wave that Minky Whale prepped earlier, they're going to easily take this inner turret. An absolute 5,000 gold behind, not quite. Still doing okay in this game. They lost the Baron, picked up a couple of kills, but they're holding on.
Yeah, they certainly are. And now they really need to make sure that they nail Tally and Minky with their layered ultimates, because they're the two that they need to chunk out. Claire just always has that cleanse available right now. And of course, Flying Jew, you don't want to hit him at all. So if they can tie up Minky Whale or Tallywhacker with the big AoE ultimates that are coming through, get some incidentals in the process and zone the rest of the team out, they might still be able to sneak a team fight. But Minky, he's just becoming huge. He's nearly 70 CS up. He's 4-1-4, has a death cap now.
Oh my goodness.
He's an absolute terrifying assassin, and you can see Kulo, give the guy some credit. He's gone bloodthirster. He's not going towards his defensive item yet, although he has been sitting on that Null Magic Mantle for a while. He's going toe-to-toe with these guys.
Yes, he's 1,000 gold in the lead as well.
The richest guy on the map.
Yeah. Well, he's the richest guy on his side.
No.
Oh, on the map. Wow, you're right.
Of course I'm right. That's why I said it.
Well, look, I just wasn't expecting the richest guy on the map to be on Absolute. I apologize. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense when your team is falling behind. Global gold advantage in favor of Legacy, but he's been soaking up farm. Look at this, 40 CS in the lead. I understand now why he is the richest man on the map, but 10 seconds until the dragon comes up. Legacy trying to pick up some movement speed for themselves. Sand Soldiers there just letting Legacy know what's going on. Malik has stolen a dragon in the past, and he's going to see whether he can do it again.
Unfortunately, Ari's still walking out of base. Ju on the side looking for a huge flank to come in here. They might actually just stall and wait for the team fight here, Legacy. They're trying to zone them away.
Yeah, Scrying Orb has been used. Carbon's going to get caught by the dredge line. Malik is in position to try and steal the dragon, but not going to be able to. Flying Jew with some fantastic zoning work. And Legacy, they can choose to back away. Absolute actually flashing forward. Oh, Mattress not quite going to land any of the skill shots. Oh, Claire as well uses the ultimate now. And Minky, well, there's a three-man knockup from Flying Jew as well. They've started the fight, but Minky caught in right amongst it. Doesn't even get to use the Zhonyas as Kulo is just going to happily use his ultimate on the air. And Jack Attack. Oh, what? Oh, Tallywhacker finally manages to pick up the kill. I thought that was Jack Attack waiting a little bit too long to use the flash, but eventually did decide to.
Nearly baited everyone over the wall. Claire face checked a whole lot of damage. Kulo all of a sudden back up to nearly full health. And Absolute still like they want a piece of this Legacy lineup.
Yeah, Kulo going so aggressive.
Oh, wow.
What is he thinking? Able to try and get some damage back. Tallywhacker gets caught by the charm, but they do get the shutdown onto Kulo. Maybe he just felt like he was immortal at that stage. Survived 32 minutes.
He got this far. Why not try and throw the dice? And, you know, they come up with a 1-for-1 trade. Maybe not what they were looking for, but that's a heck of a lot of damage coming out of Lucian right now. Yep. And he's still not done. Against all of the magic damage, he's going for a last whisper. I love this guy.
Or is he? That could have been a more of Malmortius. He does like to spend a fair bit of his time on pretty low health. It might synergize quite nicely, but I doubt it. Last Whisper is probably going to be a good choice. Of course, there's only one armor item being completed. Oh, actually a couple, of course, if you include the Zhonya's Hourglass, but not a whole lot of armor being built up by Legacy. Midbeast is going to head up this mid lane now as well, rejoin the rest of the team. And one thing I have to give to Absolute this game is the fact that they've kept up in the vision game. They've been sort of pressured out of a lot of situations, but they've continued to place the wards down, made sure that they know where Legacy is.
Yeah, they're a little bit late to the vision game. Like, it looks like right now, but that's after the major team fight. Legacy did a really good job of prepping the area. The thing that's impressed me about them is their side wave control has actually been really good the entirety of the game. Not just now, very coincidental that I mention it, but they've always, even when Legacy were pressing top lane turret, they had this huge lane reversing towards them, and that's the reason they have all the extra CS on their AD carry, because they've been reversing lanes really well, as now, wow, Carbon.
Speaking of their AD carry, the charm lands onto the Gragas as well, who has a drink as he exits the area. Culling is going to cut him down, but probably not pick up the kill as Kulo gets caught by a little bit of a wall. And
that's
Claire going to have to E over.
Very low.
Yeah, Baron up in 4 seconds now. Carbon, if he goes back to base, which he is,
they might be able to bait
careful.
this.
Yeah, absolute. Are they going to start this one off? Do they have the sweepers available as well? Is Malik just going to wander into the Baron pit? They started up.
That's way too much damage.
Yeah, Kulo's taken half of his health as well as Malik, but he does pop the Righteous Glory. They're looking to try and start something, but Malik takes too much damage on his entrance. And Legacy, now they're in the position where the jungler is low.
Yeah, so they didn't need to force that, because if you look at bottom wave, it is absolutely massive. All they need to do is send Carbon back, use that time to sweep out Vision, make sure they were in a position to be able to fight if someone face-checked them. Instead, they forced way too hard, and now Legacies are the one with the control over the Baron area.
Yeah, they're trying to clear out the Vision. Mid-beast, uses the charm. Kulo's going to get stunned up. There's the knock-up as well with the Pulverize, and doesn't even auto-attack Desclair. He just lets that kill go over to Carbon. And Legacy, they've taken down most of the damage from Absolute. And this may mean, once again, the Baron to be going down, but maybe staying on multiple members of the Legacy lineup. Oh, actually, maybe they're just looking for something.
Yeah, they're definitely still looking to bait a fight, because even though that's a lot of the damage, the Wombo combo is still there. But they do start up the Baron. A lot of damage will come across.
Yeah, Malik looking to try and get in through the backside. Yeah, can he get the steal? They've got Vision. Multiple wards are now over. He gets over there, but doesn't lock it down. The Equalizer in a nice position, though, as the ult onto 2 members here for Malik. He is going to die, gets as much done as he can. True Shot Barrage in celebration of of Malik's life, as Jack Attack is now going to cop a barrel. Scrap Shield, oh man, not even much of a speed up there, as Carbon going to get charmed, but body slams over, and Tallywacker with the consistent damage is going to be able to lock himself down the kill, and Legacy looks like they're firmly back in control of this game.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's a 10,000 gold lead. They've got Baron buff, they've got the Ezreal as well as Claire to be able to shove down these waves, and Absolute had control of the map right there. They didn't need to force the way they did, but credit to the veteran side of Legacy to be able to make that mistake and push it a little bit further than any other team would have really tried. And in the end, they come out trumps.
Yeah, they held their heads, made sure that they picked up what they could. Tallywacker able to get a lot of consistent damage on this turret, and they are going to take the inhibitor down as well. Absolute not looking like they really want to start anything, as Mattress now pretty tanky actually on this support. Carbon very, very low. Malik right in amongst it. Doesn't have the ult up just yet as mid-base. He's pretty squishy. Does have to be very careful. This does land a nice Q there onto Tallywacker, who's completely out of mana. They don't lose the inhibitor, and Legacy are backing away.
Yeah, so in the end, not really much coming out of that fight. Members going low on both sides. Everyone will exit stage right, and the inhibitor lives, but Baron buff still in the hands of Legacy, only about halfway done.
Yeah, Kulo looking to try and pick up a red buff. Does have 4 items now. Essence Reaver, built by Tallywacker. I love this guy.
I'll let you take the stage. I don't have Essence Reaver's facts, Max.
Well, it's cheaper than Bloodthirster, A.
How much?
Oh, about 300, 400?
All right.
Something like that. Of course, it gives you 10% cooldown reduction, which is fantastic for this blue Ezreal, who wants to pick up some CDR if he can. Of course, only has 25% from items now, including that Essence Reaver. Of course, foregoing the Black Cleaver and the Iceborne Gauntlet. So, look, I like it. It doesn't give you quite as much lifesteal, nor the shield, nor the extra. It actually gives you the same amount of damage. But look, I like it. Gives you your mana back as well. Synergizes nicely with that mirror mana that he's sitting on.
And so in the end, it's a strategical choice coming through him. Minky Whale with the Baron buff going for it, but Carbon's been engaged on.
Yeah, they've managed to pick up the Dragon, though, of Absolute. Pick up the second for themselves, deny the 4th from Legacy, and Absolute look like they're going to try and get out of there. The split push is on, though. Minky Whale trying to take down the inhibitor turret in the top lane. He's going to get it, as the Baron minions really helping him out here. Baron still running on, of course, this Legacy lineup. Malik trying to escape now as well, but the inhibitor's going to fall down, and split push Minky able to get the work done.
Yeah, able to get in there and get it, and that was a little bit of disconnect between the members of Absolute. You saw Malik wanted to go in there. None of the ultimates were used. They had a lot of engaged tools at their disposal, and now it looks like with that huge minion wave, they're going to be made pay.
Yeah, and Minkuel, of course, has the teleport available as well. Legacy starting the fight off here. The Equalizer going to stop Tallywacker from getting in amongst it, as Claire's just going to fall down. Carbon forced to flash his flying Jew with the ult running, is able to tank up a lot, but not everything, as he flashes away. Might actually survive, as Minkuel's going to take another inhibitor. Man, this guy's being annoying, as the flash from Malik not quite going to get the knockback, and Minky probably going to die finally, but he's got his job done. He's done what he needed to do. 2 inhibitors for the Diana, and it just makes you feel a little bit dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah, a lot of work done there by Minky Whale, and you know, it's the little things. on the back end of the Dragon fight, I don't know what CC hit Tallywhacker. I want to say it was a hook and it was immediately cleansed. And then going into that team fight, you saw that he didn't have the QSS available, so he was not willing to go anywhere near Malik.
Yeah.
He just wanted nothing towards the team fight. Jack Attack recognized that. A great zoning equalizer came through. Did absolutely no damage, but it meant that no one could get out of the turret range. Allowed Kulo to really clean up the back end of that fight. And Absolute, they have a little bit of indecision, but they still have those huge ultimates that can come through. And they've just shown that they can potentially win a team fight if Legacy make any mistake.
Yeah, and Legacy now, with the opportunity to push through, of course, this turret going to be the next port of call. They do have no Baron remaining, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But with all the super creeps heading through, Absolute really going to have to time their team fighting very, very effectively if they're not going to lose the rest of their base in the process. And look, they can. If they manage to layer everything effectively, if they get the Glacial Prison Equalizer combo with some potential action from Mattress, allowing them to stay in there, might be able to find something. And Claire with his squishy build is still there. I mean, he's got a Luden's Echo now, so not going anywhere near anything defensive ever is what he's thinking.
Yeah, so just trusting in his ranges and doing a heck of a lot of damage. Really credit to Claire. He's made the build work really nicely and has gone extremely aggressive when he has to. But Malik, he's going in.
Yeah, Righteous Glory has been popped. There's the ultimate. Tallywhacker immediately uses the QSS, but Claire's going to die. Mattress pretty tanky now as Unbreakable Will from Flying Jew is going to keep him alive. There's the equalizer. Tallywhacker forced to tank that one up as Jack Attack trying to get the harpoons in the right places. He might have to use the Zonyas, but not going to now as the Sun Turret is starting to clear up the minion wave here for Legacy. And the rest of Legacy have to be careful here. They're trying to kill this turret as Carbon's tanking for as long as he can. They are going to get it now. And Absolute, with only one member dead, they have to deal with the super creeps. Yeah. They lose their final inhibitor.
Yeah, super creeps in the base. They weren't able to get any form of re-engage as Tallywhacker. Oh!
What?
Flirting with death there a little bit.
He was on full health.
They will get one turret for themselves in the base. They take out all three inhibitors. With 50 seconds on Baron, you would think that will probably secure them the next Baron as well. But once again, Claire, the cleanse wasn't off cooldown, I don't think, and he got exploded.
He certainly did. Of course, you can only cleanse one of the CCs, and Absolute have got quite a few. So might have been able to do one of them, but in the end, not going to be able to. And Luden's Echo completed for Mid Beast as well, probably looking for his Void Staff as his final item, and he's going to be doing a whole lot of damage as well. I honestly
don't think he cares about the Void Staff. He's got double pen already. Sure, it's very gold efficient, but he can go for something luxury like a Rylai's to make himself a little bit more tanky, or I was going to say a Lichbane.
Allow him to split push?
No, actually, Lichbane W does ridiculous damage right now on Ahri.
Well, Kulo going to continue to clear out this wave. Of course, they do have some decent wave clear, what with Ahri and Kulo. Kulo, of course, doing a mammoth amount of damage.
Oh, Malik.
Yeah, Legacy looking to try and start off this Baron, but they're going to start a fight first as Malik uses the Arctic Assault defensively. Charm not going to find the mark, nor does the Crescent Sweep.
There are super creeps on the mid lane turrets, and they're going to go in for the Baron. Yeah, Absolute need to choose right now whether they want to fight or whether they want to give it up.
Because this Baron is not going to waste any time either, as well as Legacy. They're going to start some sort of fight. Mattress with the flanking maneuver, but he might be in there a little bit too early as Jack Attack has used the teleport. Flying Jew gets caught in the equalizer, but the Unbreakable Will's going to do some work. Claire, very, very low, but is going to survive. Crucially, Malik gets caught by the Emperor's Divide. Mid-Beast at full health, but the rest of his team is getting torn apart. Legacy secure 4 kills on this map. Mid-Beast not going to be able to protect his Nexus, and Legacy just outplay them rotationally around the map. Absolute had some great team fights, but in the end, it's the veteran shot calling that wins out the day.
Yeah, and it certainly was. I like how you put it, because in the end, it was the sneaky plays coming out of Minky Whale, a solid laning phase, a heck of a lot of super minions, but a win for Legacy.
That was a ridiculous amount of super minions around that Nexus. Credit to Absolute. Massive credit to Absolute, because this is the team that came through from the OCS. They're not used to the OPL just yet, and they really brought it to Legacy this game. Legacy, in the end, managed to come through with the win. Claire was doing ridiculous amounts of damage, and Tallywhacker was difficult to lock down, but there were some moments for most of these players from Absolute where things were looking really good, and a massive shout-out to Jack Attack on that Rumble. Some of those equalizers were game-changing.
Yeah, they certainly were. He had, especially in the bottom lane, a really good equalizer coming through there. Their bottom lane is what impressed me. Mattress has always impressed me. Kulo was a really good Lucian player coming into that, we knew, but stepped up and really performed well against Tallywhacker. So overall, credit to Absolute definitely, but you can't look past this Legacy lineup now. 3-0, a legitimate threat in the top lane in Minky Whale, who's making smart calls and is playing really well.
He certainly is. But ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at the results from the day, as Sin versus Avant is yet to be decided. Sudden Fear versus Direwolves, though Direwolves with a pretty last-minute victory at the end of that one. Sudden Fear looked like they had quite a lot of control, but unable to close it out. And then it was the Chiefs rolling over Immunity, and Legacy handing it to Absolute, mostly in the tower control and the way they worked around the map. And that game, a lot of these games, very, very different in how the victories were gone to. And make sure that you guys, if you want to have a look at the VODs from previous games, of course, earlier on in the day, if you happen to miss them, anything like that, head over to oce.lolesports.com and you can check out anything else related to Oceanic eSports there as well. So if you want to find out anything else, make sure you head over there.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, a very good day of League of Legends, and in the end, it was, yeah, extremely close in a lot of the games.
Yeah, extremely close. I mean, Chiefs, not quite so much, but the rest of them definitely stepping up. We do have a heated split on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, but it is going to be the end for the first day of Week 2. On behalf of myself, Spawn here, Pastry Time, and Rusty, and of course our entire production crew, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday.